If I owned a bookstore, I'd be poor. Hello and welcome back to the Bookshelf Odyssey. My name is Art, and as you might have guessed, today I'm doing the If I Owned a Bookstore tag. I saw this on Sui's Book Banter's channel, and I knew I needed to do that. And this looked like a really fun tag because honestly, owning a bookstore would be kind of a dream job. Although I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and I probably have a very romanticized idea of what that would be like. And this tag was created by Robert G from Robert G Reader of Books, and so I'll make sure to post his channel as well. I'm not a follower of his, but that's a new channel to me, so I'm going to be checking him out as well. So, all right, let's get into this. So, prompt number 1, what are the hours of operation? That's a good question. I don't know. I would want it to be, early morning. So if guys wanted to come in and drink coffee before their day started, that they could do that. Just open during the day. But I'd also want to make sure I'm open during the night. Where I live in rural Iowa, a lot of businesses close at like 4 or 5. There are very few places where you can hang out unless it's a bar, and I don't really want to do that. Even coffee shops aren't open past the afternoon, and that's one of the things I find very frustrating about living in a small town and being surrounded by other small towns. Is there really is nothing to do if you got off work at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. There's nothing to do other than going to the bar, or you could go hang out at Walmart, I suppose, but who wants to do that? And there are some restaurants and things in some of the bigger towns, but even in a small town where there's like a small mom and pop kind of cafe, they're not open in the evenings. And maybe they're not because nobody comes. But if you're not open and available, nobody can come. So it's that whole idea of if you build it, they will come kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's too much time on the first prompt, but that's my thinking behind it. Prompt 2, is there ambient music and what kind? Yes. And it's going to be like jazz, instrumental jazz, not like the elevator kind of music, but the real classic stuff like the Vince Guaraldi trio. Just mellow and quiet in the background. I like the jazz it just goes so well. It pairs well with books. And it invites you to relax, to listen, to spend lots of time there. And the more time you spend in my bookstore, probably the more money you're going to spend. So I'm going to make it feel welcoming in that regard. But then, like during Christmas, I'm going to be playing Christmas music, like jazzy Christmas music, for sure. And I know some people that drives them crazy, but hey, you're just going to deal with it. Okay. Prompt 3. Is there a coffee bar and do you serve alcohol? No to alcohol, but definitely, absolutely yes to coffee. This is why, even though it's a big corporation, I like Barnes & Noble because, you've got the books, but you've also got a coffee shop and a place to read. So yes, absolutely coffee, because even if people come in and don't want to buy a book, maybe they want to look at one and they'll pick a book off the shelf and look at it or drink some coffee, bring their own books to read. I want to create a reader's hangout where, hey, I can get some coffee and it's going to be good coffee. None of this weak, tasteless garbage. I will probably have like coffee with bookish names to it. So I don't know, like a Wuthering Heights would be like a cup of coffee with a shot of espresso. So something really bitter. Okay. If you know, you know. Things like that. Maybe, what's another one? Like the Moby Dick. What would that be? Maybe like a white mocha, white whale. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. So anyway, but yeah, I love coffee and I love books and I love jazz. So you can already see the theme coming together there. Prompt 4, are patrons encouraged to linger? Are there comfortable chairs? What kind of lighting? Are there tables? Are there areas for group gatherings? I want them to feel like I'm not in a rush to get them what they want and out the door. Like, I hate when I come into a store of any kind, but it's like as soon as I walk in, somebody's like running up to me. Can I help you? Can I help you? It's like, if I need help, I'll find you. Just be available if I need you. It's like that scene in Parks and Rec when Ron Swanson walks into the hardware store and this kid comes up to him and is like, hey, can I help you? And he just says, I know more than you. That's me in a bookstore. Okay. I'm nicer than that. But I just want to be left alone so I can linger and browse. And then if I need help, just be somewhere visible where I can find you. I won't think you're rude if you ignore me. In fact, I want you to ignore me. Okay. Maybe a welcome, like, hey, welcome. Thanks for coming. Something like that is fine. But yeah, definitely I want people to feel like they can linger. I would set up like little cozy reading nooks where they can go over to the coffee bar, get some coffee, take it over to this reading nook, and spend the day reading. So lighting and tables, I'm not sure what that would look like, but maybe not like super, super bright, but like more of a, but not too dim where you feel like you're in a dark room, but somewhere in between. Can we do something in between? And then an area for like a group gathering or something. I would like to host like in-person author events or writing events, book signings, things like that. So I'd want an area for that. I could host a monthly discussion about Dickens or something. That would be a lot of fun. Don't know if anybody would come to that. But hey, this is my bookstore, and I'm imagining things would be successful. So why not? Is there live entertainment? I already kind of answered that. But yeah, especially on like a Friday night, have like like a live jazz band or a live local artist, musician of some kind, and have a little concert, have some books for sale, have an author series or something. I don't know. I like the vibe too of a coffee shop with live entertainment. So like I said, maybe on a Friday night, do something like that and be a part of the community, help local artists. Like a lot of the guests I have on my podcast are independent writers or small press writers that don't have the benefit of name recognition. I want to help promote their stories and help promote their voice. And if I can do that in some small way, that's great. That's what I would love to do if I had a bookstore. Prompt 5, is there live entertainment? I already read that. Prompt 6, where is your bookstore located? In the busy heart of a large city, in the neighborhood of a large city, in a suburban strip mall, in a small town, in a rural area? I live in a small town, and I'm not sure a bookstore like I'm envisioning would actually do well here. I don't know if people just don't read, but in rural Iowa, but I'll save my comments to myself. But I actually would like to be either a bigger town or a big city. I don't think it really matters. Like where I live, it's a very small town, 700 people. And there's a lot of smaller towns like that around me. But about 20, 30 minutes away, there's a bigger town. It has a Walmart, it has a McDonald's, a lot of other small locally owned businesses and things. But, it's a bigger town. They have about 6,000 or 7,000 people that live there. So something like that, I think it would work really well. In Omaha, there's like the Old Market, which has a lot of locally owned businesses in it, including a bookstore, one of my favorites. So I wouldn't want to compete with them for business, but we would have a different enough vibe, I suppose. But something like that would work. So how does your bookstore look from the outside? Sleek and modern, dark and brooding? I don't know if I'm as concerned about this and whether or not I have my own building or part of an office complex or what. But what I would like is to have a big main window, and then the window could have displays, and it could be like seasonal displays. I'm really more envisioning for Christmas because I've got Christmas on my brain all the time. But something like that, and then a door that maybe is like an old-fashioned kind of door with a glass window, and of course a little bell on top that rings every time you go in, which would clash wonderfully with the jazz music being played overhead, but oh well. The options it gives are sleek and modern and dark and brooding, and I like cozy. I want it to be cozy. When you walk in, you're just like, this is a place I'm going to spend all day at, and I'm going to spend my entire paycheck in this store buying books and coffee and tipping the local artists playing on stage. So prompt 8, what's your specialty? Used books, new and used, only fiction, only nonfiction, fiction and nonfiction. Does your bookstore specialize in a particular genre? Now this is the one that's hard for me to answer, because it'd be fun to have a mystery bookstore or one that specializes only in classics. So you've got the Charles Dickens bookshelves over here and the Charlotte Mary Young over here and everything in between, that would be fun, but probably not very profitable. But most likely it would be either new or new and used. Because I'm poor, I often can't afford to buy brand new books unless I get birthday money or Christmas money or something, or gifts. And so I do buy a lot of used copies. So I'd probably have some mix of the two. But I'm not 100% on that. But I would want a mixture of fiction and nonfiction. And then what's the name of your bookstore? And that's where I'm not sure. So why not just go with my channel name? I'd call it the Bookshelf Odyssey. There we go. And even the name itself invites you to come and spend time in the bookstore to explore the shelves like I do here. We explore my bookshelves on my channel. I'll have a bookstore where you can explore all of that. I don't know. That one I'm not sold on, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. So, or how about Books and Beans? There we go. Because I'm doing Books and Coffee. Has that been taken yet? That's a good one. That's a good name for a booktube channel as well. Man, that's a good idea. I should have changed my channel's name. But I could review books and I could review coffee. Well, someday down the road when I finally hit 1,000 subscribers and suddenly am inundated with ad revenue from all the YouTube commercials that will be flooding my channel. Okay. All right. I'm kidding. But anyway, a guy can dream, right? All right. Prompt 10, tag some friends. So I would like to tag MJ from MJ Reads. I don't know if she's done this tag, but she has such a love of reading and for readers and for writers. I would like to know what kind of a bookstore she'd run. And then I also want to hear from Daryl. He is a subscriber of mine. He doesn't have a booktube channel yet. I've heard rumors, but Daryl, if you need a tag idea if and when you get a channel up and running, I'd really like to know how you would design a bookstore. And then of course, anybody else who wants to do this tag, you are more than welcome to do it. And let me know in the comments if you're going to do this tag, because I'll keep an eye out for your video. All right, that's the tag for today. If you owned a bookstore, how would anything here sticks out to you? Maybe you do own a bookstore. Hey, let us know in the comments where we can find you, because I want to help support the local bookstores. All right, now that I've just opened myself up to all kinds of spam bots and everything, that'll be it for me today. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We're getting closer to 1,000 subscribers. We're just kind of stuck in the 900s. Appreciate that help. And I'll talk to you again soon. In the meantime, take care and happy reading.